Ready?
Yeah.
Hello, this is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel, back here in Van Alley, and I bumped into Chad. Chad has a really cool Ram Promaster 159 extended. Right now he's here at work, traveling full-time in his van. Chad, welcome to New Jersey Outdoor Adventures.
Hey, thank you. Welcome. This is, my 159 extended Promaster. I am a flight attendant, and so because of that, I actually end up living in a different state than where I work. So when I'm at work, I need a place to be. So in the flight attendant world, we call them crash pads. So this is my crash pad. But yeah, come inside. I'll show you everything I built. So I bought this totally empty. So it was a just totally empty shell when I got it, and decided to build it all out myself. I've done some woodworking before, so I had experience there, but I did have to learn all the solar and plumbing and all that different stuff all by myself. But I took it on as the adventure because I was kind of excited to do it. I've always wanted to build like a tiny home or something like that, so this ended up working out perfectly. As you can see, I got a big kitchen space here. I really like to cook, so I wanted to make sure I had like 8 feet of kitchen counter space. And because of the 159 extension, I felt like I definitely had the space to be able to do it, so it didn't end up being too big of an issue. Oven and stove, obviously. They're propane. I got the propane in the garage. The sink that I put in is just a like farm style little sink that I turned sideways just to give myself more counter space. Everything is running off of just 2 6-gallon tanks that I have underneath, and a little 12-volt solar panel pump. It's a pump that you get for actually ponds, like outdoor ponds and stuff, but that just is able to power it and pumps out enough water that you got running water. I do have 2 little living spaces here. So I got a nice rolling chair, and then I have another seat, like solid seating spot. My wife will come out sometimes and live in the van with me, and so that way we have 2 different areas that we can both work. Little joint for a laptop stand, so just another position to where that you can be in a different spot in the van, so you don't always have to be in the same spot all the time. Or if you're in bed, watch movies or something like that. Up above, this is just like, I was going real cheap when I was building the van, trying to save as much money as possible. So this is just like some pine board, the cheapest pine board that I could find. I just put the same stain that I put on the butcher block countertop, just put that on there and just nailed it up to the top. I did put in 2 different vents up at the top. And originally, it's more difficult to tell, but I did remodel the entire van. Originally, I only had 1 vent in, and it was the one above the sink area. But doing a whole year in Salt Lake City, it was just way too hot, and decided that when I did finally remodel, I had to put in a second one so I could actually get some cross breeze going on. But yeah, that brings up the point that I did remodel the entire van. Originally, when I first built this thing out, I had the plan in mind that I would have a Murphy bed, so there was actually a wall back here. The bed would fold down. I had a big L-shaped couch, a little laptop booth area. I had another bulkhead wall kind of right in front of my door. And I just learned after a year of living in it that having to clean your entire living space to put your bed up, and then clean your entire bed to bring your living space out is just way too much work. I ended up leaving the bed down almost all the time and just living off of the bed. So I decided, I finally had time to bring my van back home, brought the van back home, and just totally gutted almost everything except for the kitchen. The kitchen's the only thing that stayed, and I gutted everything else out and then went to a fixed bed position, which absolutely much better. Because of that, I ended up having this step right here. This is originally where the bed, when it folded down, it would support the bed. But now I got a nice little step so I could get up into the living space, or a little seat here. I had the fridge underneath the oven originally, but decided to move it. So now my fridge pulls out from underneath the bed. That just gave me more space for kitchen storage and everything. And then moving back up front, I did go with a bulkhead wall, kind of blocking off the whole cab space. I really designed this van to be stealth, so I didn't want anyone to be able to see that I was living inside, so making sure I had a solid wall to block all the light out was important to me. But going up there, I got my cab area, which I do still block off with all the lighting so that it just keeps it cooler in there. And if you also notice, the wall is pretty thick too. I insulated the entire thing just to kind of keep down on the heat. And then over here, I wanted a hidden garbage can. So I got a little garbage can that kind of tucks away, as well as works as my little tray coming in and out. I tried to put a bunch of accents all around the van. I like playing with cards, doing magic, stuff like that. So I have like all my own artwork, my cards, all around. Got all the different art. I felt when I didn't have the art on the wall, it definitely made it seem like this wasn't a living space. Something was missing, and as I started to add that stuff all around, it just made me feel a lot more at home when I was in the van. Moving up to the storage area, I tried to, when I originally built the van, I just thought to myself, okay, I need overhead cabinet space, I need drawers and things like that, but I didn't actually plan out what was going to go inside of it. And if I was ever to redo the van, I think I would end up doing that, deciding what needs to go where. Because I just started filling this space in afterwards. So, like, I don't have very good space for my pantry. It kind of takes up these two bins right here. But you can see I tried the whole having a bin system that I pull out, or just having items that I put in there. But it's not that efficient. And then I just built some random drawers. Again, I didn't even like plan what would go in the drawers. I was just like, okay, I need some shallow drawers, I need some deep drawers. So like some of the drawers, just a junk drawer. Some of the drawers actually have like plating and things like that in it. So it's kind of just all over randomness. Underneath here, I think another thing I would try and plan out for is having a laundry area where you would actually put your laundry. Because there's no place to put it in the van, so I kind of just stuff it in front of my water tanks, which I have 2 6-gallon tanks down there, one fresh and then one gray. You probably saw that I have the TV on the bulkhead wall too. That's something I probably wouldn't put back in another van if I built it. I so rarely ever use that. I mean, especially with having a laptop, most people have a laptop, so use that for almost all your entertainment. And just turning that on and connecting it to a hotspot, finding something, it just took too much time. So it kind of just sits there, and it's more for look now. If you notice, I don't have any windows on the side of the van. Again, trying to go for as much stealth as possible. So I decided not to put any windows on it. So I ended up putting cameras on all 4 sides of the van. And then that way, if I hear a bump at night, I can just turn on a camera, switch the input to see if it's on the side of the van or on the front of the van, and just kind of see what's going on outside. I do like this. I leave it on almost all the time just to kind of see what's going on. I mean, I think having a window would be really nice, but if you really do have to go for stealth, getting 2, they were just backup cameras, and you get 2 of them for $70 plus a monitor, so pretty cheap option for windows. I did the cross breeze for the vents to try and keep it cool. I was in the van for a year in Salt Lake City before I had the cross breeze, and it was just way too hot. So I added in a bunch of little like desktop fans kind of that just plug into a DC outlet, and then that way I can get nice little breeze in different spots. I have a clip-on one as well that I can put around the bed area. Speaking of which, all of this is powered off of, I have 2 lithium batteries that are each 200 amp hours, so I have 400 amp hours total. Originally, before I did the remodel, I had 300 amp hours of AGM. So pretty much only 150 amp hours. And I drained that thing all the way down to 0 a couple times. So when I was finally able to upgrade, I upgraded to the lithium batteries, which is all underneath the bed here, which I primarily access from the garage, but I do have an emergency access that I could get to it all either through here, or the bed even does fold up if I really needed to. Right on the front here, I do have a reader display for my battery percentage. I have a heater as well. I have a knockoff Chinese Webasto style heater, parking heater that I have underneath the passenger seat cab. This thing works amazingly. Like I think a lot of people kind of knock the Chinese knockoff, but it's great. Like I've never had an issue with it, and it heats up the van incredibly fast. I switched everything to mostly Victron parts that have the Bluetooth connection, so I can check everything on my phone. That little reader display, I so rarely check that. I think it's like an extra 40 bucks, and I don't think anyone really needs it. Just do the Bluetooth on your phone. It works so much better that way. I put little reading lights all around the van, which have USB chargers on the bottom of all of them. So there's one at the desk. I have one on either side of the sleeping area. There it is. I added in LED light strips so that I can have different lighting options in the van. Also thinking that the LED light strips might take less power than having all these puck lights up above. I have 4 more puck lights that I put underneath the kitchen, so I can really light up that kitchen counter space as well. And I know you haven't seen a toilet or a shower so far. I know a lot of people do like to build those in, but I decided not to do that. I have no shower. The way I shower is actually I have gym memberships because of my line of profession. We have a gym program to where we can go to almost any gym across the US. So I just go to a gym to shower whenever I need to. And then for a toilet, I mostly, again, will just use public toilets and things like that around the area, so I don't have to use anything in here. But of course, you gotta plan for emergencies. So for an emergency, I do have a bucket. So for insulation in the van, I decided to do the Havelock wool, especially planning originally to live in Salt Lake City with the van. I wanted to make sure it was nice and warm in here during the winter. So I did, I think I did a bale and a half. So they sell them in like full and they sell them in half. So I did 1 full and 1 half, and that gave me enough to double layer all the walls. I put some single layer underneath on the floor, and then I also put a double layer up on the ceiling as well, and the bulkhead wall. So I tried to insulate just as much as possible and made it extra thick, and it works incredibly well. I mean, especially with that heater, it's hard to tell if it's cold outside. And then I'll show you the garage area too. Up above here, I have my solar panels actually. Again, I really tried to make this thing as stealth as possible. Being a flight attendant, you never know what base you're gonna be at. Some of our bases have strict policies against having camper van, conversion van, things like that. So I wanted to make this look more like a work truck. So I decided to put my solar panels on top of a ladder. So I put a working ladder on top of the roof rack that was already up there, and then mounted the panels onto that. It added a couple extra benefits too. I didn't have to put extra holes in the roof for the panels, and then it just made extra breathing space for the panels so they can cool down a lot easier. You also notice I have like a hazmat placard, which underneath my hazmat placard is my shore power. Another way of just trying to make this super stealth and super hidden so people think it's more of a work truck than it is a living quarters. Moving around to the back, this is the garage space. You can kind of see on the window, I tried to do my own 3M coating on the window, which I would highly recommend you get someone else to put this in, as you can see all the little air bubbles I have. But I was super worried about security on the van, so I wanted to make sure that someone couldn't like just break this with a baseball bat, so I got that security film that people put on. And then going inside, So inside you can see there's the fridge, so it's on a custom drawer slide. I didn't want to pay those drawer slides that they have sell for these fridges are like 400 bucks. So I just made my own out of wood. I got my propane tank hidden behind these bins that are incredibly difficult to get out. Just wedged right in there. So I got a 20-pound propane tank in there. And then over on this side, you can see more of the power that I got going on there. So I got my 2 lithium batteries. Then I have mostly all Victron products going down just to try and keep everything working together, since they all sync together and able to communicate. I figured it's best to get them all working together. And you can see it's very much done all by myself, with all the wiring just strewn all about. Last minute, oh, I should add in some more lights here, or oh, I should do this. So everything kind of just got haphazardly thrown everywhere. On the windows, because I didn't have any way to insulate the windows, I had my mom actually sew these up for me. So I had her sew a really thick one, which has Havelock wool inside of it, and then it's white and black with magnets all around on the sides, and then a much thinner one which just has that that window coating that people put in the vans all over, and again, just all magnetized, just clicks into place. This van, it is a Promaster, but I actually wanted a diesel because I heard that diesel engines just last a lot longer. So when I was looking online to find a van, I decided to get the diesel version, and it's actually an eco diesel, sorry. And it has a weird transmission too. It's an automatic manual transmission. So because of that, it's able to just save more on gas, and I probably only fill up once every 2 or 3 weeks. And it's only about like 60, 70 bucks. So it's pretty cheap, even with the gas prices going up. So it works out pretty well. I like the diesel. The van came, it must have been a work vehicle originally when I bought it, because it already had a ladder on it. So I didn't have to buy a ladder. It already had a roof rack, and it had this little metal container up here. So I had all this already on it and decided to leave it all up there, again, just to add to the stealth element of it all. You can see right here, I do have the cameras, which act as my windows, mounted all along the sides. So there's our left side, and then we have another one up on the front side there.
So what's it like traveling the country full-time in a van, being a flight attendant?
It's reassuring, really. I mean, as a flight attendant, you don't know which base you're going to get assigned to when you're in training. So that's super stressful for everyone, trying to figure out where they're going to go once they figure it out. Where are they going to live, and how are they going to find a roommate? How much is it going to cost them? So being able to have a van that's your home, and you could just go anywhere that the company might need to send you, is just peace of mind, really. I don't have to worry about anything. I could transfer bases every single month and never have an issue with where am I going to sleep for the night. And then driving all the way, I had this van in Arizona, drove it all the way up to New York City, and just driving it all the way up here on a road trip, it's just super nice and relaxing. Like, whenever you get tired, just pull off to the side of the road. You have every amenity that you need to cook, eat, sleep, and then get back on the road again and just keep going.
Now, you mentioned the remodel. Was this your first time building anything like this when you did the first build?
Yes.
Van?
Oh, absolutely.
Did you have to buy a whole bunch of new tools and equipment?
I did have to buy some tools. I used to be a woodworker in just as a hobby, so I've had most of the woodworking tools, but definitely for the solar, the 12-volt electrical, the plumbing, I absolutely had to buy all new tools for that, and just buy it as I went too. Like, as I decided, oh, I'm gonna add in this faucet, I needed some way of holding the hose to be able to pump it into the sink. I had to buy some tools to cut the copper and all that stuff.
Is there any tips that you want to give the viewers? Maybe someone that's looking to take on their first van build, because you did say you started one way and you ended another way. Is there anything that would help someone maybe get it right the first time?
That's really difficult. I mean, a lot of people recommend renting a van and sleeping in it with just a mattress in the back just to try and figure out some layout. I think figuring out a layout is great. That works. Don't go with all the crazy weird stuff. Like I put in so many unique little features in the first rendition of it that I just barely ever used. The TV, the hinged laptop mount, all those type of things. It just, once you're actually in the van and living in it, the more simplistic it is, the better it is and easier it is for you to live in it. And then another suggestion I would make, if you're going to build something totally yourself, I would absolutely buy cabinetry next time and just make it work for a van, as opposed to hand building all your own cabinetry. Unless you're a cabinet maker by profession, it's a lot of work, and that probably took me the longest time, is getting all the cabinet work done.
Well, thank you very much for the tour today and the tips. Now, I'm sure some of our viewers are going to love you, and they're going to want to follow your journeys, because you're stop after stop after stop. Can you tell us a little bit about the way to follow you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on Instagram. It's vanlife crash pad. Crash pad for the flight attendant, vanlife for van lifing.
Well, this is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like this video, comment, share, and subscribe. I love it, and we'll see you soon.